Let me be your leader.
2 hours to the first tunnel, and then it's just traffic for like an hour into the city.
You mean like existentially in outside of every city? Yes.
A Chongqing downtown tourist level hot pot level 2.
Level 2 spice. I was pretty conservative. It looks good. But it looks like I won't be sick tomorrow, so that's always nice.
You ever had a 2 before?
I would say. This looks like I've handled it before.
We'll see.
These are big bowls. I was confused at first that these were supposed to be for the watermelon, but then she was like, no, whatever bowl.
Is this okay for you?
Yeah, is it too spicy?
You're from Luzhou, but like you don't look it.
Yeah, I thought she was asking, is it spicy enough? And she was like, is it too spicy?
No, you said it's adequate.
I said, oh, it's okay. Which, same as in English, is like kind of non-committal. And I was like, it's okay. But what I meant to say is, it's suitable, which is one of my vocab words, but I forgot. I think it's suitable.
About it. Every time we come, run in, see a rock show, get a hotel, run back out.
Go to the grocery store.
Go to the grocery store, get a couple of Western meats.
Meats and cheeses.
That's about it.
It's not a bad life.
We'll never actually figure out the city at this rate, though. This is like what, our 50th time here?
Yeah, I still don't feel like I understand Chongqing. I love it.
Yeah.
But I don't understand.
Is that the mystique behind it, that you don't understand it, you just love it?
Yeah. This is a sprawling mess that I can't wrap my head around.
You love a sprawling mess.
Certainly. I married you. This building is weird.
Why?
It looks like a bunch of official stamps. I can't get it.
Oh, too many trees. That's the problem with Chongqing.
It's the problem with this world.
Not as hot as usual. I mean, it's hot, but I feel like other times we've been here, it's been hurtful. This isn't worse than Luzhou. It's not as bad as Luzhou usually.
It's not so humid today.
I think it's the gods.
Yeah. The god of humidity took the day off.
That's a nice looking crosswalk.
Yeah, it's fancy.
How many times do you think you have to go to a city, not necessarily for business, but you just go for the weekend before you're not a tourist?
200 weekends.
That's a lot.
That's like 4 years every weekend.
Because I feel like in New York, if anyone ever came to visit you, they've been like 2 or 3 times. They're like, I don't want to do what the tourists do.
Well, I guess it depends from whose perspective.
Mm.
Because a New Yorker wouldn't say you've been here 3 times. You'd know what you're talking about.
Right. Just like we don't know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but we don't say we know what we're talking about.
Wish we could, though.
Wish we could.
You want to move here?
Every time.
Give me the reasons why. Number 1.
Is a big city and people have that big city cool.
They're bigger.
They're bigger. They're cittier. They're cooler.
You think they're bigger here?
No. I'm bigger.
I see a lot of small people here. Small and beautiful. This looks like a good tourist place.
Yeah,
Look at all
man.
these people lined up, ready to eat.
Everybody's ready.
There it is. The skyline. Ah, too bright.
The weird thing about this, it's a mall.
This mall. What's this mall called?
It's the 𝗖𝗵،𝗶𝗴, I think. And it is actually a cave in a cliff face, but it is also actually a mall.
Uh-huh.
So like when you walk through it, like, oh, you're in a cave, but you're in a mall. Like, it would not occur to me to go to this place to like see a cave.
Well, I think we went to see a cave and we ended up getting a mall. We were
like,
pretty disappointed.
yeah. Well, because we were going to a restaurant. It was like, it's in the cave. And so we found the restaurant. We're like, where's the cave? Oh, I guess this is all a cave.
It's a cave. What would be the benefits of having them all in a cave? Stay cool.
Free damp.
Free damp?
Like the damp, you get damp for free. You don't have to pay for it.
That would be the cool then, to keep you cool.
Yeah, I
and
guess
damp.
maybe it is naturally cool.
Gotta say, it's not cooler inside the mall. Except for the air-conditioned areas.
And then it's a bunch of like trinket stores
It's
too.
like $300 for like a half-size mask.
Yeah.
Which is what you buy.
Yeah.
Half-size mask.
So it's a weird tourist attraction.
Yeah. There's like a pirate ship outside for no reason. You can see the bridge. That's nice. Not here.
You can see
See that guy right there?
that guy.
Look at that guy. It's so Chongqing.
Come to
That guy's
Chongqing.
totally Chongqing.
See the guy.
There it goes. Wonder what he's gonna do in his life.
This guy's being restored.
Yeah, that's where CC Bar used to be. Up on top.
Yeah.
Remember that
I
chill?
miss CC Park.
That
If
chill.
you look up CC Park, our
That's us.
that's us. Our blog entry comes up first.
Sweet. So we were here before anybody. We discovered all of this. More vibrancy. Yellow bus. You're saying compared to Luzhou, Chongqing has a much bigger peninsula.
Yeah.
Does that affect how you feel about it?
No, it just makes me
Envious?
envious. No, it confuses me because I think like we would have crossed the peninsula by now in Luzhou.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, they cleared the. Oh, what's that?
It looks like something that's round. Look, here's a tunnel. That's what Chongqing's specialty is. There she is. Out on the streets by herself. This is me, homeless on the streets of Chongqing. Just me and a bag of salt and vinegar chips. All alone. Look at her paying for stuff like a real champ. This is luxurious compared to, especially that Hong Kong room.
Yeah, chip.
Yeah, it wasn't even the size of that bed.
Yeah.
Look how big that bed is. It's beautiful. Look at it. Night 2 in Chongqing. Last night. This is how it ends. Got work to do. Can't be fooling around. Gotta write a script. Always working. Put out a video yesterday. Put out a video today. Putting out a video tomorrow morning. Working into the wee hours. Making our script. We're the hardest working people on YouTube. Go on vacation, we still work hard. Can't fucking stop us. So that's it. We finished our last episode. Now we gotta finish the third. How do you feel? Do you feel like you missed out on anything by not taking in Chongqing as a full vacation? I spent the whole day pretty much working on the script.
Yeah, well, we had kind of hoped to have like a little writer's retreat, but then we couldn't find an actual peaceful place to hang out except for the hotel room. So we may have been better off going back to Luzhou this morning.
Yeah.
I hate to say, but
It might have been, we would have been finished by, what is it, like midnight?
yeah, almost.
We would have been finished by this a long time ago, but now we know that like the finale was finished in Chongqing. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
We could
Well,
still,
and we didn't know if we were going to be able to meet up with people or.
Right. We did get a call from 𝗖𝗵cie, but by then it's too late. We're not going to go out to beers across town.
Yeah.
So on our day of departure, it is definitely hotter.
Oh yeah, it's so hot.
This is definitely Chongqing now. It's a good thing we're getting out.
Furnace of Sichuan.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Back to our own furnace.
Yeah.
The mini furnace.
We got a little furnace. There's the entrance to the monorail. This is real tourism. We came down to meet 𝗖𝗵cie, and that wasn't going to happen. Everyone got pretty busy, but this is maybe the closest that we're going to get. Alex is Big Ben ice cream. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Chongqing is a bouncy place. What were we saying about so we spent like what, 5-10 minutes in the police station, which was nice because it was air conditioned. I would rather spend it there.
Yeah, the security office at the bus station. So this is the first time we left Luzhou since December, and there is a whole lot more. Like you need a passport to buy a bus ticket, and now your name and ID number is printed on your bus ticket. And because we're foreigners, we have to like they check like when we came in the country, and you know, do we have a phone number and blah blah blah. But when we say we're Americans, nobody's been upset about that, which is kind of nice.
They haven't thrown Trump in our face.
Yeah, like there's, well, you know, the news is not good, so you want to like be careful and take the local temperature, but there's been no personal repercussions so far.
It almost isn't even like that different than usual. Like I think a lot of people have to spend like a couple minutes in a police station and think like, oh man, they're checking my paperwork, this guy's on the phone, this guy's taking notes in his ledger for half an hour, like, but that's the way it's always been since we got here.
Well, I mean, we're in the home of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And it helps that I understand Chinese, so I know like now they're looking for our residence permit just to make sure we're legal. Now they're looking for the date that we're here, so I can even jump in and be like, it's this one.
And just when you're like, why is this taking so long? It's because one guy went to go buy popsicles.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
And it also, because Chongqing has more foreigners than Luzhou.
A lot.
But it still is like, it's not.
Almost anywhere has more foreigners than Luzhou.
But it's not like they have to deal with a lot of foreigners. So I was pleasantly surprised with, it did take a little time, but it didn't take like half an hour and like, what? Like they did have a procedure in place. Because what the Chinese do is they have a RFID chip in their ID card, so they can just scan it and all the info comes up. But I mean, because we don't have Chinese ID cards. They need to do a different process, but they already have thought about that before we showed up, so that's helpful.
Yeah, there's procedures. Sometimes they just take a little longer because it's not a procedure you do every day.
And it's helpful too that like our entry day into China is years ago, so there's no like looking about for calendars, or like we don't have to. I guess you'd have to have like a quarantine letter if you came in. Right.
So just stay put. Don't go flitting about.
Yeah.
Don't go making waves, butterfly.
Yeah, but I mean that's. And we did also at the hotel. Again, like it was she took a breath and was like, okay, this is gonna be harder. And we had to scan. There's the app that like has gotten a lot of press of like that tracks everybody's movements, and like you get a green if you're allowed to travel freely, and a yellow if you're allowed to be cautious travel, and a red if you're not allowed to travel. But because Luzhou's so small, we don't have that there yet.
Right.
So this was the first time I had ever had to scan it, and I was like, I hope we get greens because we're already here. And then like your phone, I'm like, I don't know if anybody knows this is Peter's phone number because you don't use it.
And it was, it's like a 900-year-old phone. It's a coconut.
Yeah, it's a coconut with a string. But like you haven't given that phone number to anybody, except I guess when I got you that phone number, I had to give your passport. So that number is associated with you. But then, like, you don't leave the house, and when you do, you don't bring the phone. Nope. So according to your phone's GPS data, you sit in the desk in our computer room all the time.
Pretty much true.
So I was like, either that's really good or that's really bad. They'll be like, this person doesn't exist. But you exist, and you got a green, so that was good.
I kind of had the same problem in America because I don't use phones and I don't call people, and even in my job, like some people would be like, do you still work here? Like I've been sitting in this desk for 9 years, but
I've been collecting a paycheck the whole time.
I'm just watching you.
Someone's cashing those checks.
Watching you water bags.
Which I mean, it is going to be an issue of like disenfranchisement if for whatever reason you don't have a cell phone or can't have a cell phone or don't want a cell phone.
That becomes like your social security card or your passport. That's my cell phone.
Yeah.
And also how I buy chips.
Like, as a like techno paranoiac.
Whoa.
There is like every new technology. The more you make it digital, the more ways there are to crack into it. Like RFID chips are apparently really insecure, but they're super convenient. So like more and more technology is moving that way. I don't have more specific examples, but like I don't know.
I'll be worried when there's a KFC chip.
A KFC chip.
I don't want to be identified by those chicken mongers.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, you get very quickly into a Black Mirror world of like, if my friends don't rate me good enough on social media, I won't get a job or whatever. But I mean, it is a real consideration of like, cell phones aren't universally good. And if we just operate modern society under the assumption that everyone's got to have one, that's going to bring unintended consequences with it.
Right. So
as it is, like, we're lucky that you do have a phone number because you didn't before a few years ago.
Yeah. That's great.
And then I don't know what we would have done.
Well, if you want to find me, I'm on YouTube. Subscribe.
Yeah. So one thing, it was striking how many people in Chongqing are still wearing masks.
Yeah.
Like you have to wear a mask to take a taxi or a Didi. And even like in the club or in coffee houses, if people aren't actively drinking coffee or their drink at the bar, like they have their masks on.
Yeah,
as opposed to Luzhou, where it really feels like we're like in a prelapsarian time of like, oh yeah, coronavirus is a distant memory. But because the circumstances are much different, like Luzhou's a smaller city, our outbreak was so much smaller, and then like I think our last case was early March, recovered. So there is like all this extra bureaucracy and tracking. I do appreciate it is like if we have come into contact with someone who's sick or spreading asymptotically, asymptomatically, then we'll know about it, which it does feel safer to me anyway.
Well, when all the people that comment on our videos are like, why aren't you wearing masks? We're like, who's wearing masks these days?
Right, and it's just like our tiny little world.
So for us to actually get out into the big city and be like, hey, everyone's wearing masks?
Like, oh yeah, it's still going on.
Yeah. Everyone's still dying back in America?
Well, yeah.
Meanwhile, we're just walking around with our masks. We still need our masks in grocery stores.
Yeah, we still like have our eyes open for germs. I mean, we're still like.
You guys are good eyes, man.
Vigilant, but the vigilance, we're at like a low level of threat.
It's proof that it works, I guess.
I mean, epidemiologists have known this the whole time, is that this contact tracing is what works.
So keep your masks on.
Yeah, and I don't even know what to, like, it's so weird to experience the world through the internet, because I can't imagine what it's like to fight with someone over wearing a mask or not wearing a mask.
Yeah, that's just what we see on the news, and we're like, are people crazy? Because I'm not going out there anymore.
The rest of the world is going like, what's going on?
This is what's going on.
You don't want to wear masks? But,
yeah,
I don't know. But it was noticeable of like, oh, Chongqing is still like on a state of active alert.
So many people.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's where it doesn't feel irresponsible to travel, because there is precautions to take and systems in place. And an infrastructure, not, because that's a soapbox for a second. It's not just like, hey, stupid idiots, wear your masks. Like, you need a coordinated system of infrastructure and leadership and protection.
Yeah.
And that still doesn't seem to be happening in these states.
Sorry, Florida.
Sorry, United States.
Here's Chongqing. Oh, it's another bus station. So we're back in Luzhou for about a couple hours now, and we're in a taxi, which the taxis themselves, not to shit talk Chongqing's taxi, but Luzhou's taxi looks a lot more modern and space age and just hip and fashionable.
Well, and here's something I realized. So like when we first came to China, every time we left the apartment, I had like a low level anxiety of being outside and not being able to communicate with anybody. But now, like after 8 years in Luzhou and 8 years of language, I'm fairly certain like I can make some noises and people will understand them as the thing I mean. No, like I can give addresses and I know that like we'll get to the place that I intend to go. But that's in Chongqing that kind of came back, because like I don't know Chongqing places. I don't know what's the amount of information. Because in Luzhou, it's actually, you can give like a very small amount of information and people know where you're going.
Town.
It's a small town, so I can just say like the name of my apartment complex and someone can take me there. But like in Chongqing, it was, even if I had the right name of the shopping center we were going to, like they would have to look up how to get there, and and then I still get nervous about, like, Chinese is such a different language than English that even after 8 years, sometimes I feel like I'm just making noises and not effectively communicating, which I guess is like a terror I have.
Do you have nightmares of that?
I think I do. And that might not be everybody's problem. That might be, but nobody likes not being understood.
No, lots of people have dreams about, or nightmares.
And that you're trying to express yourself and then no one
comes out.
Or like you feel like you're being perfectly clear, but nobody knows what you mean. So a little bit of that came back in Chongqing. But back in Luzhou,
You're all good. We're going straight to the mall.
We're going straight to the mall.
Check out the shooting location for tomorrow's shoot for the final episode.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't have to explain all that to the taxi driver.
Oh, well. You don't think he wants to know?
Also, because Lucho, you could just say, like, take me to Starbucks. And we do have 3.
We do have 3.
But I think you could get away with that.
Whereas we tried that.
We tried that in Chongqing, and
there was 3 within a block.
Yeah, yeah. It's like that best in show line of, like, we met at the Starbucks, but there are different Starbucks across the street.
Although you could probably do that with hot pots here in Lujo. You could say we met at different hot pots across the street.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, you just get in a taxi and say, take me to Hot Pot.
The hot pot, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you probably could. They would look at you weird, but they probably would take you to a good hot pot.
Or yeah, probably take you to the one that they go to.
Their favorite one.
Yeah.
Or their friends, the one their friends own.
So yes, the problem with us is we have too many favorite hot pots here in wonderful Lujo.
And we all call them stuff like Riverside Pot, Hot Pot, Other Riverside Hot Pot, New Other Riverside Hot Pot.
Yeah.
It always comes back to Hot Pot somehow.
That's Sichuan. That's Lujo. You look beautiful in the sunlight. You're the only one who's like not wearing a mask except for the workers.
If I brought anything back from Chongqing, I want to protect everybody else from me.